The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Chattin with Jocelyn. I'm your host, Jocelyn Davis, and this is part 2 with Julian, and we're going to go a little rogue. We found out earlier in the first part of the show why he was running, a little bit of his background. We're going to dive into some of what's going on in the United States, what's going on in the world, some of the I want to call it mean girl, mean guy stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Stuff that you're not aware of, that you're too busy working your job, paying for your car, taking care of your kids, getting them to school, figuring out the insanity of a virus, mask mandates, which are not really laws. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to go ADD, so hang with us. Welcome to the show, Julian.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's kind of dive in. You're military, retired military?
Yes, ma'am.
So Marine Corps, Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
My son's Marine Corps, so always a soft spot. My dad's Navy, and my brother-in-law's Army, so we've got it all covered. My husband's police officer, 34 years, and I'm 911 EMS, so...
That's okay. Me and
all service.
My parents were Air Force. My grandpa was Army. His brother was Army. Yeah, we do a lot of ragging on each other.
Yeah, but it's all families of service.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Don't not tiptoeing.
Start talking crap about veterans and veterans' presence. Just because we're talking crap about each other doesn't mean you can join.
Correct, and that's the same with police officers. Same with EMS. Because we do doesn't mean you get to.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
You haven't earned it. So last night I was with John Baldock, Brigadier General Baldock, retired.
Yep.
And he did a event where he brought together veterans.
Yep.
And he was talking about PTS. And it's to a lot of people, it's taboo. Oh my goodness, lock them up. We can't have anybody running, can't have them near you. Oh, this is a terrible thing. Why? You can have a job and have PTS. Mm-hmm. You can run for office and have PTS. Mm-hmm. You can be a brigadier general. You can be a major. You can be a sergeant and have PTS. You can be on active duty and have PTS. You can be retired and have PTS. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I listened to these wonderful men and women mm-hmm. That stood up and bared their souls to the exact degree without... I'll leave it at that. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And shared what was in their heart, in their soul, what they had dealt with. And I was in tears, not because of the stories. I was in tears because of the respect they had for this man and how he was speaking honestly and encouraging them to speak up. And they spoke to him with respect. Which is something that's lost in our society. It was yes, sir, and it wasn't fake. It wasn't sucking up to somebody. That is how they felt. That is how the respect that they had for him, and that warms my heart, and it makes me teary now because that is what's missing in our country. We are missing God in our family, God in our country. We're missing respect. We are missing men and women that have the call to duty. Yeah. They're missing that the United States of America is the greatest country in the freaking world, mm-hmm. and you're standing there in your pajamas doing Zoom, and woe is me.
Yeah. Well, like I said last time, I don't do red meat, so I'll be honest. If we don't shape up, we're not going to be the best country in the world very, very soon. We're heading down a dark path really fast. The rest of the world is training their men to be stronger men, and we're training our men to be weaker.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but that's not okay. Like I said last time I was on, I was raised with the warrior scholar methodology. So every day, education continues. Every day, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. It's hard to admit weakness for a lot of veterans. We typically can only do it to other veterans. That's one of the things that we've all found lacking when we get out is that fraternity, that family that we had is not replicated anywhere else. The closest that you'll find is in the police force, and it hurts. It hurts. You could deal with. I mean, a lot of us have PTSD, anxiety, stuff like that, and we self-medicate. Most of us because we don't have those other guys that got our six. Now, my unit's really, really good at this. Somebody's having issues. There's a whole bunch of people that hop in a car and they drive to them. We call everyone that we can. We try to get somebody there, get an emergency responder there, because at this point, we're losing way too many to suicide.
Yep.
And we're losing way too many that fall through the cracks.
Correct.
And after what just went down in Afghanistan. Now,
What is your gut on that?
our foreign policy in the Middle East has been a joke. A really, really bad joke. Like, sick, sadistic joke. There's lots of corruption over there. The Afghan government was not some great 21st century government that was ready to stand up and defend their country. People need to understand, they've been at war for 3,000 years. The Taliban are the same type of people who pride themselves on being unconquered. Unconquered by literally every major empire that's gone there. Because every empire tried to do what we did. They tried to hold the land.
Yeah.
What we should have done is we should have went in there. We should have slapped them around a little bit. After we got rid of bin Laden, we should have left.
Yep.
You're not going to bring democracy to that area of the world. And there was a lot of really messed up stuff that went down over there. And the Afghan government officials were still involved in sex trade, forced marriages, corruption, bribery, all if you can name it, they did it.
And it's unfolding less than a week after we tucked our tails and ran away.
I'll be honest. I blame each administration
Yep.
that was in charge during the Afghan war for their part in the Afghan war. Same with Iraq. All the blame's got to, the buck stops at the president. It also goes for Congress. Most of the people in Congress were there through the entire thing. Oh, it definitely goes on them because you sat there and you let it happen and you said nothing.
Oh, by the way, 46, who's been there 47 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'll give Trump credit for this. Trump saw that our foreign policy over there was a joke. He saw that everything that was going over there was a joke. That's why he tried to pull out. That's why there was no mincing of words. However, the way we just pulled out of Afghanistan is a travesty. It should not be hard. Any private on the block could have made up a better plan, a better op plan for this. Evacuate civilians, then evacuate government contractors, then our allies, then military equipment, and then as you leave each base, you bomb the hell out of it.
You blow it up.
Leave them with nothing. And then as we take off from out of Bagram Air Base, not out of Kabul.
Correct.
As we take off, then you bomb the last few bases and go, all right, cool. You want your country back there?
There you go.
can have it.
Yep.
Go ahead and try to rebuild all that, and we're leaving you with nothing.
So correct me, Bagram Airport had was the better airport. It had the embassy there. It had the guard towers. It also had, if I remember correctly, the best visibility all ways round.
It was a strategically defensible position, whereas you look at Kabul and it was surrounded on all sides. We saw what went.
Well,
what
the town
transpired
wasn't it just sort of just for visual for everybody, because I break everything simply.
Yeah.
It was an airport within a town.
Yeah.
So not a lot of visibility.
It's very much like San Diego.
Yes.
It's very much like San Diego or LAX, where the fence surrounding the airport are in neighborhoods.
Correct.
Now, that's an issue. It's a major, major issue. We saw what transpired there. Those 13 Marines did not have to die. They did not have to die. It did not have to go down like this.
No.
But this is what happens when you make decisions for optics rather than making decisions because it's the right decision to make. The pulling out on 9/11, so you just handed the Taliban a double holiday.
Yes, you did.
They attacked us once, and then they won the war on the second.
Correct.
And the idea that we're declaring victory, that Biden thinks that this is a victory, this is not a victory. Pulling out of Afghanistan, I want to make it very clear, I don't agree with being in Afghanistan. We needed to pull out. But
not
that's
like
fine.
that.
Not like this. Not like this. This is absolutely horrible. And this administration is now responsible. I like to play chess. The larger ramifications of this is every enemy or tacit enemy that we have around the world who wants to win one over on us just saw what this administration is going to be like. So China just told Taiwan, don't resist because America's not coming to help you. Russia's going to start moving in on their Eastern Bloc all over again. Our trade allies, our trade partners are going to start winning over on us because, let's face it, half the time Biden seems like he's not really getting it. He's just not getting it, that he's supposed to be leading right now.
Well, he's not a commander-in-chief.
Saying,
He's-
what, I'm not supposed to answer questions or... Yes,
oh, wait a minute, yeah.
You in the purple shirt. Card says purple shirt. So this is, it's getting ridiculous at this point. Now,
people use the word embarrassing,
Yeah.
and it is, but that's an optics word. That is a politically correct word. It's not embarrassing. This is a travesty. This is treason.
and it's not just Biden. It's not just
No,
Biden.
it's the
because it's the entire
administration.
bureaucratic establishment too. Because you're now watching officers in the military. The military is not there for educational purposes.
correct.
CRT has nothing to do with being in the military. Has nothing to do with operational effectiveness. There's
Neither
no
does gender
reason.
studies.
No, it doesn't. And there's no reason that you need to learn that, because every moment that you're taking away from being good at your job is a moment that might translate out there on the battlefield. It could get somebody killed.
Correct.
This is stupid. We shouldn't even have to have this discussion, but we do. The long-term ramifications of this is the biggest foreign policy blunder. And I don't know how we're going to fix it, because we still got 3 years to go. And as much as everyone wants to impeach Joe Biden, guess what? Kamala Harris is right behind him. So Kamala Harris, and even if we went back to House in 2022 and we impeached Joe Biden, Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker to have him removed from office.
Correct.
So she's the tiebreaker. Then she becomes president. Then there's no tiebreaker.
Correct.
There's no tiebreaker. And we have rhinos on our side who still side
19
60,
actually, don't we?
who still side 60% with the Democrats on a regular basis.
Who side with
And-
Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Schiffy Schiff.
And not
Nadler.
unreasonable stuff like
No.
not unreasonable stuff like, hey, our deficit's getting insane, which now they finally just admitted that we're about to go insolvent on our debt. This was like you're projecting and this is a conspiracy, but no.
This is for
This
real.
is actually happening
October.
right now. And nations are moving off of the US dollar as the reserve currency. This is not going to be like the last Great Depression. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse because we have an entire generation of people who are not ready.
Correct. Well, they don't know how to grow food. They don't know how to survive literally without their cell phones and their iPads. They don't know how to amuse themselves. They don't know how to read books. They don't know how to, we're looking at it from this.
And you don't know how to do all this stuff while coming out of 2 years of constant media saturation, constant blue light in your face, constant. It's
telling
just
you how
sad.
to wipe your nose and when you can wipe your nose and what tissue you can use to wipe your nose.
Yeah. Was it Ben Franklin said, those who are willing to sacrifice liberty for safety deserve neither?
Correct. And they are actually making that statement to us
Yeah.
on the boob tube, and they called it a boob tube for a reason.
And I would have been
Back
able
in the
to,
day.
I would have been able to trust some of these people had you not had people at the World Economic Forum saying, this is our chance to reimagine global society. Not American society, global society.
Yep.
America's a sovereign nation. I do care about Americans because I actually care about the guy down the block from me, whether he's a Democrat or not.
He's a human being.
He's a human being.
Correct.
And I want him to be okay far before I care about what's going on in Taiwan, Indonesia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, or whatever Middle Eastern country we'll be invading in the next 3 weeks. Because trust me, the military industrial complex wants their money back. So they're definitely going to be getting back in there because can't let a good scam go to waste.
Go to waste. So this
Which
80
there you go, Ron Klain, Emmanuel, and Ron Klain, they did that too. You don't let a good crisis go to waste because it's your chance to
that's
pass
wafted
stuff
in
you
front
could
of your face.
normally
All
do.
of this is wafted in front of our face, and people are like, "Oh, you're making up your conspiracy theories." They're
Wasn't the
saying
Prime Minister
to your
of
face.
Australia just said, this is how we're going to be dealing with things as we go into the new world order? I'm like, you say that everyone's a conspiracy theorist, and then you go
you say
rattle
it.
off new world order. You rattle off, this is our chance to remake society.
Let's
No,
reimagine.
Yeah, it's not a slippery slope. You said it out loud. No, I don't trust you. You said you have an ulterior motive, which is why you're pushing all of this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a BLM. BLM with the, we want to get rid of the nuclear patriarchal family. I'm like, whoa. As a black guy, I don't like that. We tried that once. There's a whole generation of black guys that are locked up in prison and had their lives ruined over stupid stuff like smoking weed on your couch.
Thank you, Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Every DA.
Yeah.
It's the dirty secret of padding your numbers. And when they pad
Making
their
you look
numbers, you don't go after Betty in the suburbs or Karen's because Karen's got lawyers. You go after
The easy,
Yeah.
low-hanging fruit, whoever happens to be there, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but they go after the easy prey.
what it is class warfare. It's class warfare.
I'm better than you,
We
and I'm
describe
going to
it
teach you
like,
your lesson.
The black community describes it as racism, as systemic racism. It's not systemic racism, it's classism. It just looks like racism because from your perspective, you see in a area filled with black people, you see 9 out of the 10 people you see get locked up are black people. Then you go and you look at white Appalachian trailer parks and stuff like that. Guess what? It's all white people. The reality is it's all poor people.
Correct.
It's all poor young men without fathers, broken homes, bad economic situations, bad future prospects, bad education.
Bad politicians running the cities, the towns, the school boards.
See, I don't tell people that systemic racism isn't real. Of course it's real. It was built by Woodrow Wilson, FDR, and every single Democrat since. See, all of these issues are local issues. Nothing that you do at a federal level filters down past 30 layers of local filth, because the people in your local government who are already screwing you are the ones who have to implement that program. And guess
Correct.
what? It's still going to benefit them.
Yep.
It's never going to benefit you over benefiting them. So the reality is all these local government issues, systemic racism, yes, it exists. It's highly localized to every major city in the country. It's highly localized to areas where you've not had, now I'm not going to say Republican, conservative.
Right.
You have not had conservative governance, conservation of the Constitution, the Republic, the inalienable rights of the individual to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Correct.
Equally applied to everyone.
And the example is, so to let people understand, and took me a little while to put this so that I could explain it to people. So, every state has an executive branch that's your governor.
Yes.
Every state has a judicial system that's your court system, and every state has a Supreme Court. Many people don't know that. We also have a legislative branch, your Congress, your Senate. You have the same up in Washington on a federal level.
Yes.
What people don't understand is the only people allowed to make law, period, end of conversation, full stop, is the legislative branch of the state or the federal government. Just before I came out, I don't know if it was Blinken, Winken, or Nod, whichever one of those nitwits was on the television. It was the Attorney General. And he was stating that the federal government will not allow the sovereignty of the states.
Last time I checked, I'm just going to say I got a few guns that says otherwise. Because as far as I'm concerned, the 10th Amendment still applies. There's this tiny little thing. Any law that violates the Constitution is no law at all.
Correct.
The Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Correct.
So if you're now stepping on the 10th Amendment, you're ignoring the Constitution. I advise everyone to actually read the Constitution. When's the last time you read it as an adult?
Have one.
Most people
get one. You can get them free.
Most people have not read it as an adult.
Last night, I handed out over 25 New Hampshire state constitutions. Mm-hmm. New Hampshire has more rights, 39, compared to the federal, which is 14? No,
because if you break up each of the 10 amendments, there are multiple rights expressed in each amendment.
Right. Okay. So, but 10 with multiple rights.
Yeah.
We have 39 in the state of New Hampshire. Did you know that? You need to read the Declaration of Independence. You need to read the Bill of Rights. You need to look at the Constitution of your state. The Constitution of New Hampshire is not the Constitution of the United States. No. It's the Constitution of New Hampshire, of which our governor, the governors, but the governor right now, has made law, which he is not constitutionally allowed to do. The courts and the judicial system of New Hampshire has made law and mandates. Mandate is not law. It's a mandate.
I say this all the time. Anything you don't want to do, anything you don't want government to do, or anything government is forbidden from doing, you have a responsibility to engage in the culture. Mm-hmm. Make movies, make music, be out on the ground pounding the pavement, be engaged in your community to solve issues locally. When somebody's house burns down, we don't go to the governor and go, "Hey, do you mind give us we're fixing their house for
give me the money and all new furniture."
No, we raised money.
Correct, and we do it ourselves.
We help each other. That is what's required. There's responsibility. I'm completely honest about this. Being conservative is not sexy. It's not sexy. Conservatism is not wearing a red lace outfit and saying, "Welcome home, Big Daddy." It's a set of boots for you to lace up and get the job done.
Correct.
It means you have responsibility to do what government is not supposed to do. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean someone's going to, when I say that you have to care about your community, I don't mean you're supposed to subserviate yourself to the community.
You raise your fellow people up with you.
Exactly.
All together,
up,
shoulder to shoulder.
Handout.
Correct.
And I would do that through charity. I have no problem doing it through churches and stuff.
But that's the way it was supposed to be.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Now, you want to help homeless? We give food to the homeless.
Correct.
If I see a homeless guy who looks like that, earlier this year, I went to a meeting with one of our state GOP officials, and there was a man, as I was paying for parking in Manchester, on a day where it was it had been over 96 degrees. He was not sweating anymore.
He's dehydrated.
Yeah, he's completely dehydrated. You could see his bones, his ribs. He had probably 2 or 3 teeth total. And I was like, when's the last time you had water? When's the last time you had food? Now, I keep cases of water in my car.
I do too.
I gave him some water. I didn't give him the water out of the trunk of my car. I gave him the Smart Water with cucumber lime that I had sitting on the passenger seat next to me. So I gave him a couple of my bottles of water. And then I took him and I bought him some food. And not like cheap stuff. I bought them like actual canned goods. Let's
Yep.
get you some, not candy. Let's get you some real food.
Yeah, let's put some meat on those bones.
Yeah.
When I see that, I'll go to whatever fast food is around there, try and buy the healthiest that I can, and I hand them a meal.
Exactly.
And you
Like,
hand them a
I
water,
don't-
not a soda. I don't
I
understand.
don't take positions I don't live.
So
Like I actually get on the ground and I do what I say I'm going to do. So if I believe in fixing the election integrity issue, which I do, I've been working on it for the past 9 months.
yep.
When I want to fix school boards, I go and sit in every school board.
I know,
don't
you
make a
sat with me.
spectacle of it.
Nope.
I don't bring cameramen with
Nope.
me. I sit back, I keep my mouth shut, and I listen. I don't go to other people's school boards so
Nope.
that I can grandstand in front of the
Nope.
camera.
You never have.
No.
I can honestly say you haven't, and you've sat next to me, beside me. That's the same thing. Next to me, beside me, behind me, and we've had
Yeah.
legit conversations. We've talked about the gaveling and the out of control and the rhetoric and the labeling, and watched as a school board dissed 2 pharmaceutical scientists
Yeah.
who said, that's not the science. I worked in big pharma, but that's another story for another day. I want to thank you so much. This has been absolutely awesome. I love having conversations with people, being open, any subject, anytime, any place. And I think people need to take a look. What's your website?
It's Julian, the number 4, nh.com. That's Julian4NewHampshire.com. And go ahead and give me a call, 603-327-5567.
Absolutely. And start going around to some of these meetings. Show up at the school board. I know you're busy. I know you're tired. I know you have a million things to do. But you know what? It's not okay for you to expect me to fight your battle, and it's not okay for you to expect Julian to fight your battle. We'll come fight together, but you know what? We need to have an army. We need to have our battle plan, and I don't mean any violence. I mean a battle plan in our heads, a battle plan to keep this country, to keep the state, to keep the Constitution, and keep our families. God bless you all. Make sure you reach out, know your candidates, know Julian, and join me next week. Thanks.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.